You and your friends. Pete's voice remains flat. Seem more suited to one another. You deserve someone who shares your beliefs, because I'm not that person. I never was. Hey, it's Pete. My fingers brush against the spine of the little prince, its worn cover offering a sense of familiarity. I place it back on the shelf where it belongs, nestled among the perfectly arranged books. The library has always been my refuge, a space of calm where the world feels manageable. The stillness, the scent of aged pages, the symmetry of the shelves, everything here soothes my restless thoughts. But today, even this sanctuary feels distant. A quiet unease crawls under my skin, and I can't seem to shake it. I know exactly what it is. It's Mandy. As soon as she steps through the door, she fills the space with an almost electric energy. Her voice, bright and lively, shatters the silence like a sharp gust of wind. She's followed by her group, a loud bunch of them, talking over one another, their chatter invasive, an unwelcome interruption in this peaceful haven. Mandy walks with a confidence I've always admired, a self-assuredness that's magnetic, but also a little intimidating. From behind the shelves, I watch her, my chest tightening. This place, once my refuge, now feels foreign. Mandy and I used to be happy, or at least I thought we were. But recently, it feels like there's an invisible wall between us, something heavy, though intangible. The time she spends with her friends seems to increase with each passing week, while our time together becomes more rare, awkward and strained. Last night, during one of those rare moments, I tried to break through that wall. I opened up to her, shared something I hadn't told anyone else. I talked about Sarah, the betrayal that broke me and left me terrified to trust again. My voice wavered as I confessed how that fear still clings to me, constantly gnawing at my insides. I told her how hard it is to believe anyone will stay, that anyone will really be safe. I poured my heart out, searching her face for understanding. But Mandy's reaction was a punch to the gut. She tilted her head slightly, considering my words, then coldly responded, "You should just get over it. Don't let the past define you." Her tone was dismissive, almost cruel, leaving me stunned. There was no comfort, no empathy, just a detached observation, as though my pain was something abstract that she couldn't be bothered with. This morning, while I was pouring coffee in the kitchen, I heard a voice through the apartment. She was on the phone, her tone sharp and impatient. I heard Pete's name, and my stomach clenched. I froze, unable to stop myself from listening. She was talking about me. "He's so needy," she said, her words dripping with frustration. "Overly sensitive." Her friends laughed on the other end, their mockery echoing in my head. In that moment, the truth hit me hard. Mandy isn't a safe space for me. It began small. Her friends' teasing during their library visits seemed harmless at first, just playful jabs. They'd call me fragile with smirks or mock my love for books and old records, dismissing them as quaint or outdated. But over time, their words started to sting. What once felt like harmless teasing now felt pointed, deliberate. My sanctuary, the library, no longer felt safe. Then came movie night. A sad scene played out, and a tear slipped down my cheek. Mandy and her friends erupted in laughter. "Snowflake!" one of them called out, and the word lingered in the air, a slap to my face. Each insult chipped away at me, leaving me feeling exposed, weak, and ashamed. The quiet, gentle person I once was seemed to be disappearing, replaced by someone unrecognizable. Weeks passed, and each day felt like a variation of the last. Mandy and her friends pushed boundaries further, their jokes growing sharper, their presence more stifling. And I let it happen, too afraid to speak up, too unsure of myself to fight back. Tonight at the concert, the music pounds relentlessly, a heavy beat that mirrors the ache in my chest. I try once more to reach her. I tell her how I feel, how I've lost myself, how the fear of being alone since Sarah has consumed me. I tell her I don't feel like myself anymore, not with her, not around her friends. Her response is immediate and biting. She rolls her eyes, a dramatic gesture that makes my chest tighten. Then, in front of everyone, she says, "Here we go again. Can we not have a pity party?" Her friends laugh, their voices blending with the thumping music, a cacophony of mockery and dismissal. In that instant, everything becomes clear. Mandy doesn't misunderstand me. She sees my pain and chooses to ignore it, or worse, to amplify it, using it against me. This isn't neglect, it's deliberate. "Hey, I'm Mandy." The bass line of the music vibrates through my chest, and Pete's words still echo in my mind, repeating like a broken record. He's full of vulnerability, speaking about wounds and shadows. But to me, it seems performative, like he's playing a part. Instead of confronting his struggles, he leans into them. I think he should stand tall, not crumble. My friends agree. Our group is tight-knit, a collection of like-minded individuals who thrive on strong opinions and shared beliefs. We gather often, our meetings filled with laughter, debates, and affirmations. They are my chosen family, the ones who truly understand me. This week, our conversations have revolved around performative behavior. How some men use emotional displays to gain sympathy or avoid responsibility. This topic struck a chord with everyone. When I shared Pete's recent confession with the group, their reactions were swift and unanimous. Sarah burst into laughter, followed by a sarcastic, "Not another one." The others joined in with exasperated sighs and knowing nods. Their responses felt like a balm, soothing my own frustrations. I replayed his words in my mind, now tinged by the group's analysis. His gentleness seemed less endearing and more fragile. His kindness appeared as a thin mask, and his vulnerability, which once seemed sincere, now seemed calculated. As the days passed, I began reshaping my memories of Pete to fit this narrative. Anything that contradicted it, I dismissed. It became easier to view him as an actor playing the victim. He wasn't truly hurting. He was manipulating. At least that's what I told myself. Tonight at the concert, surrounded by my friends, Pete stands nearby, looking uncomfortable. I've been recounting his emotional outbursts to the group, describing how he cried over the death of a pet. My friends listen, their faces contorted in shared disgust. Their agreement strengthens my resolve. I tell myself this is tough love. He needs a wake-up call, a push to grow stronger. In the middle of the show, Pete steps closer to me, his face pale, his eyes full of pain. He tells me he can't keep doing this, that my actions are hurting him deeply. His words hit me like a jolt, unexpected and disorienting. For a moment, I freeze, unsure how to respond. My friend's laughter continues in the background, but it feels distant. Pete's voice is the only sound I hear clearly. He tells me he's been trying to hold on, to make sense of our relationship, but I've crossed a line. His words feel like a crack in the foundation I've built with my group. Doubt seeps in, an unfamiliar, an unwelcome sensation. Am I truly helping him? or have I been tearing him down? My immediate reaction is defensiveness. I think I've done nothing wrong. He's just being overly sensitive, right? My mind races, searching for a justification, but the look in his eyes makes it harder to dismiss his words. There's a rawness there, a vulnerability that feels real. It's not the performance I've convinced myself it was. The breakup happens quickly, almost too fast for me to process. Pete walks away, leaving me standing amidst the crowd. The music continues, but it's just noise now. My friends gather. Around me, my friends' voices offer reassurance. "You're better off without him," Sarah says firmly. "He was too sensitive for you," another adds. Their words are meant to comfort, but they sound empty. Still, I hold on to them, desperate for something solid to grasp. Later that evening, I sit alone in my apartment, replaying the events over and over, trying to make sense of it all. My friends' voices echo in my mind, repeating their reassurances. But Pete's words linger, refusing to be quieted. For the first time, I wonder if I was wrong. Have I misunderstood him? Have I allowed my own insecurities and my friends' opinions to cloud my judgment? The silence after the breakup is deafening. A constant ache settles in, reminding me of the loss. I had convinced myself that I was whole with her. But once it ended, I realized there was a vast emptiness. I couldn't stop going over everything. Our conversations, trying to figure out why it ended so suddenly. But instead of finding answers, I found how much I had relied on her. I had made her approval the center of my existence. Her praise was my lifeline. The realization hit me hard. I wasn't complete. I had been depending on someone else to hold me up. That needed to change. I couldn't keep living this way. I decided that victimhood wasn't the answer. I had to rebuild myself. The first step was therapy. I needed to understand how I got here, why I depended on her so much. I had ignored issues from my past for years, but now they demanded attention. Therapy became a space to confront those wounds and learn healthier ways of dealing with them. Slowly, I started to learn new coping mechanisms that didn't rely on the approval of others. Next, I focused on my physical health. I bought weights and a pull-up bar. The effort it took to work my muscles started to distract me. It gave me a clear way to measure progress. Every rep was a step away from the mental inertia I had been stuck in. I pushed through the pain, which made me stronger physically, but also helped me develop mental toughness. My body began to change, hardening in a way that matched my mental transformation. I felt different, more confident. These changes didn't happen overnight. It took constant, focused effort. I joined a hiking group to challenge myself. Hiking rocky trails boosted my confidence, and every time I reached the top of a hill, it felt like a small victory. I started exploring new hobbies too. I picked up painting again, rediscovering something I had given up when I was with Mandy. I took cooking classes and found joy in creating food from scratch. Each new interest made me feel more whole. As time went on, the self-doubt faded. I no longer flinched when I saw my reflection. I learned how to set boundaries with people and express my needs without the fear of rejection. I could be vulnerable without feeling weak. Vulnerability became a strength, not a weakness. I began to like the new version of myself. Then I met Natalie. She was younger, but had an old soul. She appreciated me for who I was, not for what I could give her, but for my integrity. She wasn't like Mandy and her friends, who thrived on drama and shallow concerns. Natalie was intelligent, passionate, and secure in herself. She didn't try to change me. She liked me for the man I had become. Our relationship was built on mutual respect and genuine affection. It was calm, healthy, and everything I had been searching for. We fit together, not because we completed each other, but because we were both strong individuals who wanted to share our lives. I now go to a cafe I used to avoid because Mandy and her friends would often be there. Sometimes I see her eyes on me, sometimes curious, sometimes regretful. She still walks with that same grace, but it doesn't affect me like it once did. She feels like a ghost from another life, a reminder of a past I've let go of. Her gaze no longer triggers that old need for approval. It means nothing now. I sip my coffee, focused on Natalie and our weekend plans. My future is bright, full of possibilities. Mandy is no longer a part of it. I have no desire to return to the past. My life now feels like sunshine after a long winter, and I'm not going back to the cold. The cafe buzzes with conversation and the scent of burnt sugar. I sip my latte, the foam bitter, much like the feeling inside me. Across the street, Pete stands in the sunlight, his hair glowing. He laughs, a sound I haven't heard in so long. A beautiful woman stands next to him, her hand on his arm, smiling up at him. They look perfect together, radiating the kind of warmth I once thought was meant for me. I swallow my latte, the acid rising in my stomach. He's different, Chloe observes sharply, poking her cake with a fork. He actually looks happy. I don't understand how they don't see it. How can they not? They never truly saw him. They never saw the kindness or the quiet humor that was always there, hidden under the weight of my constant criticism. I see it now, though, in the way he stands tall, the confidence he carries. He's not the same person anymore. He's blossomed, and I'm stuck in the past. Regret hits me hard, relentless. I fidget with my cup, tapping my fingers on the table. Pete feels like a stranger now, but a stranger who makes my heart race. The man I once knew, the one I pushed away, has become this vibrant person. And I, the one who thought I had it all figured out, am left with nothing but regret. All the times I called him out, tried to change him, they all come rushing back. I was wrong. I didn't see him for who he truly was. I was too busy trying to make him fit my idea of who he should be. Suddenly, a desperate urge to talk to him rises. I need to apologize, to somehow fix what I've broken. I stand up quickly, my chair scraping the floor. I'll catch you later, I say to Chloe, my voice shaky as I move toward the door. It feels embarrassing, like I'm begging for something I've lost. The street seems longer now, every step heavier. Pete notices me, and his face tightens for a moment before it goes neutral. Pete, I say, my voice small. Can we talk? He looks at me with an expression I can't quite read. Maybe pity, maybe disgust. About what? He asks, his voice flat. About us, I manage, the words feeling strange, like something I shouldn't be saying. Heat rushes to my face. He scoffs. There is no us, Mandy. He glances at his girlfriend, who squeezes his arm. You made sure of that, didn't you? His words hit me like punches, each one leaving a bruise. I open my mouth to say something, but the words stick in my throat. I finally see it. The distance I created. The gap between us so wide it might never close. I was so focused on being right, on pushing my ideals, that I forgot how to be human. You and your friends. Pete continues, his voice flat. Seem more suited to each other. You should be with someone who shares your views, because I'm not that person. I never was. He turns to his girlfriend, his voice softer now. Let's go, he says, and they walk away together. I watch them walk down the street, my heart heavy in my chest. The sounds of the city drown me. I'm left standing alone, feeling like a shattered mirror, reflecting nothing but my broken self. He's not angry. He's not sad. He's moved on. I'm the one stuck here, regretting everything. In trying to change him, I've lost him. I wanted to mold him into something he wasn't. And in doing so, I've become the very thing I hated. The person who uses ideals as weapons. I've turned into the person I didn't want to be. And the worst part? Through all my pushing and trying to fix him, I pushed him away for good.